Am I going through the awakening of the Kundalini process? How do I know if I am experiencing a Kundalini awakening? When Kundalini's energy is awakened and permanently activated, we can experience profound mind-body healing and purification that can be overwhelming and extremely difficult. Our consciousness can change massively in a short time, even instantly. And this could cause a wide range of mental symptoms as our cognitive system desperately tries to adapt to the new frequencies. Sometimes it seems like we're going completely crazy. It's good. It's completely normal to feel scattered, confused, foggy, and spaced out. Especially if you were not prepared for awakening and if you are not closely guided by a spiritual master. The energy of Kundalini rising changes everything. The way we experience, see, and understand life. The way our mind-body system functions. And the way we experience, see, and understand ourselves and our nature. We must have patience with everything we're going through. We must understand that Kundalini energy works through our system to purify our system to release our soul consciousness. We must surrender to its power and let it do its work. It is pure, divine love and heals our body-mind so that we can live from, through our soul and embody divine union. So, if you're wondering how to understand if you or anyone you might encounter who is acting unusual are going through the Kundalini ascension process, the first thing we must observe is whether the symptoms persist over time. Typically, in the Kundalini process, the mental, physical, and emotional states remain only long enough for the energetic blockage to be released. This could mean days or months. As soon as the lesson is learned and the energy is released, the symptoms disappear. It is common for us to experience many different symptoms over a relatively short time. It can be exhausting and overwhelming. However, if the mental symptoms persist longer, you might want to check whether this is more consistent with a mental illness. However, wait to see if you have the other indicators of Kundalini awakening. An important characteristic indicating the awakening of the Kundalini is the strong spiritual component throughout the process. If the Kundalini has awakened, we will feel a strong urge to educate ourselves on spiritual matters. It feels like consciousness is hungry for spiritual knowledge. We will have an intuitive understanding that what happens to us is part of a bigger plan and that we are spiritually guided and supported. Another clear indication of Kundalini is the presence of unexplainable mystical and energetic experiences. The most typical sign of Kundalini is feeling bursts of energy moving through the body, particularly along the spinal canal, which can cause involuntary contractions and movements. Additionally, uncontrollable shaking throughout the body is one of the most common energetic experiences of Kundalini working through the nervous system. At first, it may seem like we are possessed by a powerful energy moving through our body. If this happens, it is probably Kundalini. This loss of control over the body's energies can be quite frightening at first. However, we must understand that this energy is deeply loving and healing. We must trust it as something good and positive for us. If we have unusual symptoms and these things are present, we may be experiencing a Kundalini awakening, ascension. Sometimes we can feel overwhelmed and deeply exhausted, especially when the energy downloads new information and light codes into our system. This could cause excess energy, and we could experience moments of crisis. The energy itself will show you how to deal with such events if you allow yourself to be guided. Kundalini awakening and the resulting healing process can be quite overwhelming and difficult, even traumatic. There is so much that we need to purge and release from current human consciousness, so that soul consciousness can be released through our system. Whether we go through this process smoothly or go through a difficult awakening process depends on many things. One of them is how ready and willing we are to constantly abandon our ego system, the human personality. Our resistance to letting go of our beliefs and human programming can put an additional and unnecessary burden along the road. The intensity of awakening can also depend on the individual and ancestral karma that we have chosen to release as a soul. For example, being born into a lineage with a lot of unresolved trauma means we will have to go through healing from our ancestral lines. If this is the case, please learn to view this process as a service that you give to your ancestors and future generations. Recognize the beauty of your being for choosing such a courageous challenge. If we start clearing and raising our vibrations before our Kundalini awakens, we will have much less baggage to purify. Which means we will have a less traumatic ascension process. If your Kundalini has not awakened, do not worry about it. But instead focus on cleansing your mind-body system so that you can be prepared for your own spiritual ascension. The overwhelming phases of ascension depend on the amount of energy that is released. Ascension is a gradual process. We have many smaller awakenings. Through each of them, more or less energy can be released. Just before or just after the energy awakens, our body-mind system will need to adapt to the changes that are occurring, resulting in more or less pleasant symptoms. Some souls choose to ascend faster than others, absolutely no judgment on this. It says nothing about who you are, and therefore some people must go through a massive purification in a short time, which can manifest itself in difficult physical and mental disorders. So please don't get attached to any of these things. Believing that you are clearing karma will just cause more karma clearing. Believing that your ascension process must be traumatic will only create more of that. Believe that you must experience this symptom to prove that your energy is awake will produce it. You create your reality. The greatest truth about all kinds of symptoms is that they are caused by the ego's resistance to letting go of its belief system. The human ego simply struggles to understand and accept that we are pure presence and pure love. If we simply learn to let go, awakening is an interesting, magical, miraculous event that fills the soul with joy and excitement. Whereas, when we resist transformation, we find ourselves crushed between the resistance of the ego and the powerful force of the Kundalini in full activation. This is when the disturbances appear. This is why, for our mental, emotional, and physical health, if Kundalini wants to pass, let it pass. If you are shown where you have separated yourself from your truth, simply recognize, accept, and release. We must submit wholeheartedly and continue to submit so that this process of deep purification becomes as gentle and bearable as possible. We can trust that Kundalini activity heals our entire being so that we can walk this planet full of love and inner peace. Because that is what happens when we begin to integrate our healing and can welcome higher and higher vibrations. So, focus as much as possible on reflecting these qualities within yourself. Find the light that shines in your heart and simply take refuge in it whenever you are going through difficult times. Regardless, you are deeply loved and accepted. You are a divine being experiencing yourself through a human body. You are an angelic being manifesting on earth to be a channel of unconditional love. Embrace the difficult times with abandon and acceptance, stay strong, and continue to believe that better days await you along the way.